All right, we are now live. So we'll wait a few minutes for people to join us, and then we'll get started here. Oops.
Oh, I thought we'd
Let's
have
see.
some nice background theme music as people roll in.
Okay. Let's see here. All right. So, folks, my name is Frederick L. Jones, and I am the founder and publisher of Saturday AM, and we are now live. I do want to advise everyone that it is always difficult when we're doing this because I am we don't have the most sophisticated setup, but we're trying to, get things moving here in the best way possible. Make sure you guys are all able to be entertained to some degree, and likewise be able to see and experience everything that we're doing. So we will be monitoring the chat room, so we're making sure that everything there is working and making sure that the no one there is acting out of line. But for the most part, we're really excited about this. This is March Art Madness. Um, this is our annual artistic event, and we're super excited about it because it just really is something that just is not something that you see done by a lot of different groups. It's something that we've done here with Saturday AM. We've started this 4 years ago, and it has just taken on a life of its own. This is our annual art tournament. And the best way to look at this is that if you love to draw, this is one of the ultimate stages for drawing. I say that for a couple of reasons. It's not a simple statement, and it's not an ambitious statement. We say it because truly, if you love art and you want to make a career of it, there are three main things that you actually have to do and have to be good at. Number one is you have to hit deadlines. If you don't produce artwork on a deadline, you can't act effectively, have a career in this space. Doesn't mean it's fair. I hate deadlines myself, but at the end of the day, it is a piece of the business as a creator of comic material to be able to hit deadlines. Number two is being able to draw lots of different types of things. You have to step outside of your comfort zone. And so with this, aspect of it, this is a tournament that actually goes on past a week. It has five different iterations to it. We control the components of what it is you'll draw, and so you're being tasked to create content every single time that may or may not be something that you're used to doing. And so the sheer act of having to try different things frequently, we find that to be extremely important toward the life of a artist. Last but not least, or the last part of the aspect of this that we feel like this does really well is it really celebrates what people can do from an artistic standpoint. And by that, what I mean is that the idea of being able to draw content means that you actually can draw lots of different types of things, and you actually can use different types of tools. This is a tournament where you're celebrated for that. So again, many tournaments are a one-time thing, right? It exists over a week, or it exists over a specific image. And so while those always offer some sort of challenge, the reality is that you're being forced to work within a very narrow parameter. Perhaps you really enjoy working with comics. Perhaps you want to do better at comics. And this event, because it has so many iterations to it over 5 weeks, really celebrates artists who can stretch and try different things. So there's an aspect of trying different things because you need to grow as an artist. There's another aspect of trying different things and being celebrated for it. People who can use digital coloring, people who are really good at being able to do mixed media, people who use watercolor, people who are able to ink in different styles, use crosshatches or use heavy line weight. These are all aspects and skills of artists that this tournament really celebrates. So we are super proud of March Art Madness. It has taken on an entirely different life than when I started it back in 2016. This year event, we expect to be one of the biggest we've ever done. for several reasons. One, we feel like the artist community has embraced this tournament as they have Saturday AM. And as a result of that, we will be having a chance to actually experience really talented people. In fact, in this tournament, we'll have some people who've been in 3 of the tournaments. And when you think of it from that perspective, then you think about, man, these are people who really had time to see how this tournament goes, to learn how to pace themselves, to understand what maybe some of the themes will be, and therefore they may have a game plan in place to win this tournament. As we do every single year, the tournament does offer you the ability to win some prizes. But more importantly, you will walk away with the bragging rights and a brand new Apple iPad with Apple Pencil. That's huge because what we want to be able to do, of course, is not just celebrate art, not just help artists try to find new ways to test themselves, and not just train artists in terms of being able to do something as simple as hit deadlines. We really want to try to support artists, meaning that we want to give them the tools that they'll need to go forward. And there's nothing greater, in my opinion, than the Apple iPad. It is versatile. You can watch your favorite anime or TV shows on it. You can obviously search the internet if you're researching something that you're trying to draw. And then there are so many different drawing platforms on the Apple iPad. Everything from eventually Photoshop, which is coming soon, to Procreate, to Comic Draw, to some new applications that we've been told that we've heard about recently, that we're really excited about, anyone having a chance to get an Apple iPad and use that portable device as opposed to a tablet you got to hook up to your computer. So we think this is great. We're super excited about it. And tonight, as we reveal the 64 artists who will be a part of this tournament, I want to make sure that we provide you all the information you'll need to enjoy this either as a fan, as one of the artists who will be in the tournament, or as a few of the artists who will actually be alternates for the first 2 weeks of the tournament. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So with that being said, let me first of all introduce 2 of our guests. They'll be working with me throughout this tournament this year. There'll be other people as well. One of them is the one and only Morgan Walker, it's creator of Soulbeat. Morgan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine.
Good. Morgan is represented by the cat. And then striking a pose as a ninja that is roughly 3 foot in height is Andrea Voros. She is one of my co-founders of Saturday AM, the creator of Saigami, and she is, again, a former assassin from Hungary. Andrea, how are you doing tonight?
Feeling small.
But you're big and mighty.
I am.
So, one thing I'm really excited about, obviously, if you guys don't know who we are, and I'm sure some of you don't know who we are, let me tell you who we are. We are Saturday AM. We are the world's most diverse shonen manga anthology. And frankly, at this point, we are the world's only shonen manga anthology that is in English and has global implications. Our content is all in English. Our creators are literally from all over the world, everywhere from Nigeria to Hungary to New Zealand to even recently the Middle East, where we just have our latest creator, Tender Loving Punch. Her name is Sama, and her manga series, is called Tender Loving Punch. And we couldn't be more excited about that. It's really extraordinary that we started this magazine 5 years ago, that it has just simply taken on a life of its own, much like March Art Madness. We have exclusive series like Mastery Multiplayer World of Ghosts, Clock Striker, Soulbeat, Saigami, Bully Eater, Hammer, Mutton Chop, and of course, you all know Apple Black by the one and only White Manga. We're really excited that we've been able to build this brand over the last 5 years. It's inspired many different companies, many different artists to try to do what we do, and we love that. We think it's great that when we first started talking about diversity in manga, few were talking about it, few were doing anything about it, and for us to be at this position now, we just celebrated our 100th issue after 5 years, and with a number of amazing creators, we're really excited about that. But one of the big things about it as well is that we started the company. The whole concept was, again, about bringing diversity to the table. And I'm really proud tonight that not only do we have 2 amazing creators, and Andrea and Morgan, who are assisting me with this and are working with me throughout this tournament, But you will see tonight that a number of the contestants for this year's March Art Madness are actually women. And this is really cool. I mean, this is really, really, really cool. And I think this just continues to be what makes Saturday AM so special, that we are a home for everybody. Japanese manga is awesome and we love it, and we love Shonen Jump and all different publications, but there is a sense sometimes where you don't feel like it really speaks to you or for you because the characters don't reflect you. And with Saturday AM, we really want to be a place where everybody, every kid, every person who creates content, no matter where they're from, feels like we are a place for them to be at home. And the fact that this year we've got so many female creators as part of March Art Madness, I just feel personally really excited about that, and I hope you guys will appreciate that as well. So again, issue 100, you can actually purchase this on our website right now. It's an anniversary issue. It's got all of our major series in there. It's got artwork from some of our from all of our creators, because we have far more series than this. It's got a great interview in there with I Am Elemental, the toy line. It's got some more great content in there as well. Some interviews with people who started out when Saturday M started out, and they've taken a different path. And so it's really great just to be able to have a chance to look at where we've been over 5 years. So you can get that issue out right now. It's on our website, and we hope you'll do that. Likewise, as I indicated, we're super proud that as we've put our first issue out for 2019, issue 101, that the new comic, the new manga, Tender Loving Punch, by our first Middle Eastern creator, Sama, is debuted. We've had some amazing comments on it. People seem to really enjoy it. The artwork, of course, as you can see with this cover, is gorgeous. And as always, these are creators that we discover that are relatively new, although they might be, have been working sometime in their country, but they're relatively new on the global stage. And so we take a lot of pride in being able to discover new creators. And it's also great that we're publishing a manga that features an Arabic female character. That's something you rarely see. And that we have this comic is actually produced by an Arabic female. So again, just having this ability to create great content, original content, and have it be populated with characters and by creators who themselves look like the world we all live in is something that we're extremely proud of. In fact, we just recently were at a show in Charlotte, North Carolina called Comics Pro, which is an international organization around retail. And it's really awesome that we were at the show and we had a number of retailers excited about what we're doing with Saturday AM. I can say without question that you guys will start to see Saturday AM product in some of your local favorite stores very soon. And it's coming from the fact that we've worked really hard to build this great brand with so many great creators from around the world. So again, you can get the issues on our website, www.saturday-am.com. Now, summer of manga is one of the things that we do that helps us discover new creators. But March Art Madness has actually brought us quite a lot of amazing experiences as well. Last year, for example, this amazing young man won the tournament. And what's great is that not only is he, first of all, just incredibly talented, just super. We discovered him in the previous year's March Art Madness 2017, and he just came alive in that tournament. He was not someone who drew a lot. It was something he thought he could do regularly. And Bailey Boutel from Australia, I think he got a taste of it thanks to his involvement in March Art Madness. And then the second year, he came in with an absolute mission and purpose, and he just dominated throughout the entire tournament. So we are super excited that March Art Madness has taken on this relevancy around the world. That we're not only discovering great creators like Sama in Saudi Arabia or Bailey Boutel here in Australia, but that we're helping a taste and appetite for creating content in the comic book industry. And again, super proud of Bailey and what he's been able to accomplish since March Art Madness. And again, like you see, the work here is just absolutely gorgeous. So with that being said, this year's tournament is going to be really different. For example, you're going to see a lot of creators, as I said before, who've been with us in March Art Madness for more than 2 years now. And that's going to be really interesting because these are creators who really know their stuff. But it also allows us, therefore, to do some different things than we normally do. So, for example, the way the tournament works is it is essentially a 64 artist mano a mano slugfest single elimination, which means that once you get in, you got to produce great content. The judges will evaluate your content each round. And if you get enough votes from the public and the judges, you will advance to the next level. And eventually it finishes with the final four. And of that final four, we end up with a number one a number one winner, who's the grand prize winner, a second place winner, third place winner, and fourth place winner. The grand prize winner, this time with the Apple iPad, of course, goes to whoever is number one, the grand prize. And so the tournament really begins with this field of 64. Now, these are artists who are literally from all over the world. Just to give you a couple of countries that these folks are emanating from, you will see in this tournament people from the United States of America, St. Croix, Jamaica, South Africa, Nigeria, Morocco, Iraq, Mexico, Serbia, Israel, Germany, Canada, Martinique, Bahrain, the Philippines, the United Kingdom, and Russia. And that's just naming a few. There's more than that. So the tournament, again, begins with these 64 artists that we've selected from everyone who registered in the tournament. And by the way, many people did not get through. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So these 64 artists, they'll be put into 4 separate groups. The groups will be Clock Striker, Saigami, Bully Eater, and Apple Black. Each one of these groups will have 16 individuals in it, and these individuals will be randomly paired against each other for each round. Each round, we will provide a theme. That theme can be literally anything. It could be comic books, superheroes, video games, old school cartoons, you name it. What you have to do is produce the content based on that to the best of your ability in the time frame allotted. When we get the content, we then prepare it for the website. It's presented on the website, and you are allowed to vote, usually over a weekend, or at least a few days of a weekend. We take those votes, we tabulate them, and then the winner is revealed the following Monday. And the winner is then matched up with the next individual in their group, the remaining individuals in their group. So after the first week, for example, folks, out of 64 people, 32 will lose and be out of the tournament after the first week. Now, the themes are, again, very varied, and therefore it can be anything. And so this is where the challenge comes in, is that one week you may be drawing something that you're really familiar with. The next week you might not be. So we thought we'd do something really interesting this week, and that is to actually do something where the artists are given an opportunity to to affect the theme. So, for example, every week, the 4 different groups will have a theme given to them. In reserve, we will have 3 additional themes. An artist who finishes in the top 8 each week will be given not only the rank, but they'll be given ranking powers. What that means is that if you don't like a theme that you're having to produce that week, you can activate your ranking power and change the theme to one of the 3 alternates, and it will affect the match that you're in. So you and the person who's drawing against you, you can change their thing that you guys have. If you don't use your ranking power and you retain your top 8 position, so 2 weeks, then you will get a super rank. What the super rank allows you to do is not only change your theme, but change the theme of the entire team that you're on. So, for example, if you're in Apple Black and the first week you place in the top 8, then obviously you've beaten whoever you were up against the first week. The second week, you now have a rank. If you finish in the top 8 again and defeat the person you're up against, and you do not use that ranking power, then now that rank becomes a super rank. So in the third week, you may be given a task to draw something that you don't want to draw. Then you can change the theme for the entire team that you're on. Now, there's some fallbacks to that. For example, if you decide to do it when you just have a normal ranking power, you do not get to choose which of the 3 alternates that are there. So let's say, for example, you don't like to draw women. You're not very good at drawing women. And the theme for that week is Disney princesses. And you're like, man, I do not want to draw women. I'm going to activate my ranking power. In the alternates, there are superheroes, video games, and then maybe the third one is, Barbie from Mattel. Once it hits the ranking power, that alternate list is random. So we will do a random kind of like pulling a piece of paper out of a hat to determine which of those alternates you get. You very well may end up having to draw a woman again. And so in some ways that may be a waste of your rank. In other ways, that might be kind of exciting for everyone else to watch it. Likewise, if you go up against somebody who has also a ranking power, then they can activate theirs just to cancel yours out. So this is going to be an interesting scenario because it's going to allow the artist, just like in real life, to have some level of flexibility. For example, if you decide in life that you want to work at Marvel Comics, you're like, man, I've drawn Wolverine my whole life. I'm really good with Wolverine. I can't wait to draw Wolverine. And you get to work at Marvel's, we think you're good. We'd like to get you to work at Marvel, but we don't think you're ready for Wolverine yet. So we're going to give you Spider-Ham. What are you going to do? Turn it down? It's not what you wanted. And of course, if you don't work hard at it, then you may not ever get to work for Marvel again. So this is what life is like, folks. It throws you curveballs. Sometimes you think the grass is green on the other side, and then you learn a harsh lesson. So we love this new ranking power thing. For one, because it forces people to really take drawing a really great image seriously. Which brings me to the alternates. One of the reasons that we've decided this year to have a bank of alternates for the first 2 weeks is because what we've seen is that we get some artists who simply do not know much about Saturday AM, do not know much about the Smart Art Minus tournament, think that they're too good to draw these images for an iPad. Like they feel like they can just draw one image and get an iPad because they're that awesome. And that's not the way the world works. It's certainly not the way we work. So what ends up happening is that we either have, it's usually 1 or 2 people. It's always 1 or 2 people who either drop out after the first week or don't get their stuff in the very first week, or, something happens, or they think they can just float the same image week after week after week, and they can't. So we're not just going to kick them out because then that destabilizes the balance of the thing. It basically gives the other artist who's operating against them a freebie, and that's not fair to everybody else. So we will have alternates, and any artist that we see who fails to carry themselves with dignity, we kick them out and replace them with the alternate. That's simple. But this is why you've got to be on message. This is why you got to be focused. So you know the tournament, you know how big it is, you know that we take this very, very, very seriously. And so now we want to reveal the round of 64 artists. So if everyone's ready, I'm going to try to pull this up here. and then I will answer any questions you guys have after that. All right, can everyone see the screen? All right. So this is the March Art Madness round of 64. Now, before I reveal the 64, I do want to say a couple of things. Number one, we got so many people who applied this year, and we are so appreciative of that. I do want everyone to know, whether you were chosen or not, that we do appreciate very much you taking time out of your schedule, because we know that, you know, life is tough right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. I was just reading a great book about the climate change debate, and it's scary as hell. And, you know, and I'm an old man. I'm older than a lot of you guys. And so it's frightening to me, and I'm in my 40s. So, you know, life is tough. And I think that whenever we get support for things that we do, like our Kickstarter or our magazine, it's always important for me to make sure that you guys know that we appreciate it. We very much appreciate it, because I know, again, that there are other things you can be focused on. There's other things in the world for you to be worried about than us. And we do appreciate you taking the time out. That being said, we do try to carry ourselves professionally. And I know sometimes a lot of young people don't even know what that means. And so, you know, people get particularly upset when I say that, because it feels like, well, you're not professional. And that's ridiculous. We take what we do very seriously. That's why Saturday AM is Saturday AM. And from that standpoint, we take seriously what you guys do. So when we put together an event like this, you know, we lay out a list of things for the survey. We expect you guys to take your time and fill it out correctly. One of the things that I've noticed since we've ever started Saturday AM is that a lot of young people just rush to do this stuff. So when it came, you know, they rush. They don't take their time. They don't read it. They don't focus on what they have to do. They don't try to worry about making the right impression. They just try to get it in as fast as possible. And that does affect how we view things. You know, again, other companies won't tell you this truth, but I will. That if you present yourself in a way that seems clueless or less organized or less focused, you will be viewed that way. That's just all there is to it. So with this tournament, what's important for us is that the tournament is a competitive tournament. We want people who take it seriously. We want people who draw seriously. Drawing one or two pictures is not enough. Likewise, we err on a couple of things. We err on the side of creators or artists who have attempted to interact with Saturday AM at some point in the past. We've been around for 5 years. We have inspired so many companies who are trying to do what we do. So we know that people know who we are. And with that, when that's the situation, it's important for us that people take the relationship with us seriously, as we do with you. So, you know, when we get a submission for something like this, and you've never interacted with us, you don't subscribe to the magazine, you've never been in a previous March Madness, that was a mark against you. Now, if you're super talented and you have a lot of artwork on your Instagram profile, that's a mark for you. If you attempted a lot of different types of artwork, meaning that you drew different types of things, you weren't just drawing the same Dragon Ball Z pose over and over again, that was a mark for you. If you submitted content and your profile was locked for Instagram, that was a mark against you. That was a big, in fact, that was a definitive kill right there. We're not going to try to become your friend to see your artwork. You should be proud to have your artwork displayed publicly, because this event is a public event. We asked people to produce an image of themselves with the March Art Madness logo behind them. We did that for a very sincere reason, because we need to know that the artists are indeed the artists that they're portraying themselves to be. In this round of 64, there are a few people who did not do that. And we discussed this quite a bit. We got between the prelim tournament and this tournament, we got well over or damn near close to 300 people for this event. And we had to really go through it carefully to determine who was right choices for the 64. You will see a few folks who did not do what we asked them to do. And the question will be, well, why did they make the tournament and I didn't? And the answer is complicated. We want this to be an exciting tournament. So if we see an artist who looks really, really, really good, and they didn't follow the rules and they don't subscribe to Saturday AM, well, yes, that means that we're a bit dubious about who they are and whether or not they can even handle this tournament, despite how good they might look. But we decided to err on the side of finding artists and giving them a chance to have their work seen in this capacity. Likewise, there are artists who we could have put in place of some of these individuals, people that we know, people that we've seen, people that support us, and we love their support. But the reality is that if we're looking at their work and we don't see that they have grown as an artist, then it's really difficult for us to take away an opportunity for someone who is new to Saturday AM and doesn't necessarily know all the rules of Saturday AM, or at least possibly we think that might be the case, and yet at the same time, give an opportunity to someone who is completely a fan of ours and totally devoted to us, which is great, and who we love and appreciate as well, but isn't growing as an artist. This is an art tournament. This is not a fanboy tournament or a fangirl tournament. So these are the sort of choices that went into the decisions you're going to see now for the round of 64 artists. Remember, these artists, 32 of them will be gone after the first week. That's how brutal this tournament is. And after the second week, it'll be down to 16 artists. Think about that. So in that scenario, again, we tried to make the best choice we could to choose the 64 artists that we believe are interesting, either are members of the Saturday AM community, or are artists who have shown really interesting and engaging artwork that we think would benefit from this tournament and will benefit the folks who enjoy looking at this tournament. And with that being said, let's reveal the 64. First up is Bazan Artist. We're really happy with this work. Thought it was solid. And so we were, very impressed with what this young man we think can do. Next up is Black Carrot. These are their Instagram handles. You guys can follow them if you'd like. Next up from there is Ramirez is Awesome. Next up is Andrea's favorite artist name. I think this is what she fights crime as, Poopsie. Next up is Brojack X. Next up is Gary Lytle. Gary has been in previous March Art Madness tournaments. In fact, he went a couple of rounds last year. We know he's talented. We know that he can bring some really interesting ideas. And I can tell you now, he is going to be a threat. Rosa Studios. What's interesting about this image here, if you look at it closely enough, I don't know if it's going to come through on the screen. If you look at it closely enough, you can see the guy's impression, his photo impression to the left. I didn't even realize that until I was messing with all these images, and I thought, wow, that's really cool, actually. That's really clever. That's the sort of stuff, folks, that sort of creativity, fan art. It's fan art, man. We're drawing, superheroes and video game characters and Saturday AM characters and all sorts of stuff. and you got to be clever. D Drawtist is the next artist. I like the little caricature that they did with the giant pencil. I thought that was quite cute. Saul Art. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but whatever. Next up is Art Sam Simi. And Art Sam Simi, this young man he's from Africa or the Middle East. I'm pretty sure. He's been in a previous couple of tournaments. He's always produced interesting work. We've always been really taken with the stuff that he can do, and so it's gonna be interesting to see what he comes up with. It's gonna be very interesting to see what he comes up with. Next up is Tin's artwork. This is Martin Patino. He is from Mexico. Super talented. I think Martin does stuff I love personally as a fan of comic art, where he's got very simple line work. So he does not need a lot of lines to produce everything he wants to do in an image. And I think that's always a very deadly combination in this tournament, because it means that it means really all he has to do is be creative, because he can depict anything pretty clearly without having to put so much stuff into it that it makes it unwieldy or complicated to look at. He can do really simple stuff and make a complex image really simple, and that's a really interesting skill to have. Art of Jins. Now, this young man is new. We had never seen him before, but this is one of my favorite images to be produced. I was really like this a lot. So I expect this young man to be quite a challenge. Johnny is our next artist. I like the fact that he's got a giant flat screen TV back there. That is literally one of the biggest flat screen TVs. Maybe it's a monitor. Maybe he's just tiny. I think that's what I choose to believe, is that he's tiny. We would call him in English, we would call him Andrea Boros, but or Peter Doney. But he is maybe he's tiny and the screen is what's big. That's possibly what it is. I actually really like this piece, and I'm really curious about this artist, Elzek. We were really impressed with just the character of the work that they produce, the interesting aspects of the work they produce, and so pretty stoked to see what this artist can do in the tournament. The Kid Crow. I like it. I think more than anything, I like his sweater. I like that sweater with the little shoulder piece. I think that's pretty cool. Tenchi Draws. I love the expression implicit on Tenchi. And I also love when I see people who create the March Art Madness logo for themselves. It doesn't mean anything. We don't give you special credit for it or anything like that, but it just shows me that they're willing to take the art contest seriously and try different things with it. So I think that's great. Yerushalmi Art. And I had looked at where this artist was from, and I apologize for not having it in front of me, but this artist is going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see what this artist is able to do. Icarus Lion. I like the confidence here of Icarus Lion. I like that he's angry man. He's a very angry man. Many people would say that I look like Icarus Lion, and I would say you're right. Drawification. Drawification had some really interesting art on their profile. We thought this person's going to try some really unique things. There's a lot of artists that are going to be like that in this tournament. There's a lot of artists that are going to be like that, who just draw really interesting, like their stuff is not your standard stuff, but what they do is pretty interesting. Miles O'Brien was like that our first year. You know, he didn't draw standard superhero stuff, but what he did was always interesting. It was always thought provoking. Hack Wolfen. The butcher, the H'er. I don't know exactly how you say that, but I think it's the butcher. It's probably the butcher. But their Instagram handle begins with an 8. Impy 0J. Lord Hikaru Arts. Lord Hikaru Arts has participated before March Madness. We've seen them grow a little bit. They've been able to actually produce some different things. So, and they've been with Saturday, I think for just maybe I don't know how long it's been exactly, but they've had some growth, and so we're curious to see where they end up with it. As you guys can see, this is a tough tournament, so the cleverness that this artist will have to pull out is going to need to be there to be able to really go up against some of the folks that they may get matched up with. So this is where creativity really comes to mean a great deal. Adrian Art XV. This is one of my favorite images in the March Art Madness caricature piece. Metal Oak. Giorgio Brooks. Teaspoon Arts. Green Brawlin. Droblin. I can say that this is what white manga looks like typically. He's a very tall kid. He's got a little bit of facial hair, and he does have a bit of the Will Smith 1990s hairstyle, a little bit. Sterling Cartoons. I don't even know how to say this name, so I'm old. I'll just say Strad. Very, very interesting artist, folks. If this artist, jumps in jumps in fully, they could be interesting. Surge Spark. Surge Spark. Art of Nick. Art of Nick. I'm pretty sure it's how you say it. Anubis Void. Anubis Void. I think we kept going back and forth over this, Morgan Andre. I think we kept going back and forth over Anubis, 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 Anubis. Kiri Giri Mai. Kiri Giri Mai. Tao Keo McFly. Some of these names. I don't know. It's Tao Keo McFly. Harukumi Art. I like this. I really like this image. I love the facial expressions. I really love the facial expression. Adri Scribbles. Adri Scribbles. I remember we were reviewing this entry, and what I loved about this, aside from the fact it's just quality and she's super talented, was the fact that she had characters of different body styles on her page. I thought was so awesome. That's what we need to see more of. We need to see more people again presenting the world as it is, not not the world that they think is cool. Because sometimes what you think might be cool, a lot of Japanese manga, really isn't reflective of the rest of the world. You know, people who are overweight tend to be made fun of, like Chocho and Boruto. People of color definitely don't exist, or at least not regularly. And that's not the world that I know. It's not the world that I love. So I love seeing people who do interesting things like Idris Scribbles. Nick Allen. Nick Allen. Real Anotrix. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Real Anotrix. This is one of the young people I was talking about. This young man has been a fan of ours for some time. We've seen him grow dramatically from when he started, and uh, you know, this is why the tournament exists. What this young man has been able to improve upon in his skills is what makes me very happy and very excited, because that's what we want to see. Period. Jason as 263. Jason S 263. 99 Violence. I've seen this young man supports us. He's supported us for quite a while. I do not understand his name. I don't know why he calls himself 99 Violence. I don't know what that's supposed to signify. Please do not create violence in the name of Saturday AM. Please don't do that. Like this, like the young man 21 Savage. Like, why would you call yourself something so extreme? My name's not Freddie Holocaust. Let's tone these names down. How about 99? How about 99 Flowers? How about that? Call yourself 99 Flowers, 99 Violence. Nat Q Art. This is one of my one of the artists that I find just I am really excited. I'm really excited about this guy. I'm really excited about this guy. I think whoever's going to have this guy is going to be hell dealing with him. If you check out his Instagram profile, if you saw him in the preliminary tournament, he produced two really interesting pieces of work. His Mob Psycho 100 was absolutely bonkers in the best way possible. He's got some great facial expressions, like facial expressions, folks, is one of the harder things to do. It's one of the hardest skills to have. Artists can always get by, it's kind of like, producing, if you letter comics, if you letter your own comics, and like you could always get by with like the character is meant to be excited, and if you kind of just can somewhat show the character excited, maybe you've got the mouth open, they're like and then you put on there a thing where you've got like a giant font, and the speech bubble is kind of like an explosion, then you can create the drama, right? You can manufacture the drama, even though the artwork might not really showcase that. But this artist actually does have the ability to produce a range of emotions. We're talking Kevin McGuire level from the old Justice League International days. Very rare in comic books do you see someone who can really pull off good facial expressions. So this artist I think is going to be really interesting to watch. Black Hawk Art, who, believe it or not, actually does have more art. This is the only thing they had for the March Art Madness thing, so we used it. So probably not the best look for them, but they actually do have some art. They participated in previous tournaments with us. We'll see how far they can go. I wish they had done something better for the March Art Madness thing, but we'll see how far they can go. Rachel Brady Art, yet another female artist, which I'm really happy about. Rachel Brady Art. Very talented. We're curious to see where she goes with this. Next up is PZ Zen. PZ Zen. PZ Zen. Next up is Flunked Fiction. Flunked Fiction. This is an artist that is new to us. We're pretty sure they know who we are based on who they do some part-time work for. But they they're new to us, and therefore, we didn't get to, they didn't present us with what we would have liked to have seen, which was obviously the image. We thought about maybe not putting them in because they didn't follow some of the rules, but the reality is that this is an amazing artist. The artwork is extraordinary, and so we're gonna take a flyer, as they say, and see if this artist can live up to what some of their artwork looks like. So we'll see. Toro Spix. This artist participated in the preliminary tournament and produced this image here of Apple Black. It was a very popular image, so we just chose to include it, even though they did not do the requisite March Art Madness piece that we asked for. D Creationist. I was trying to figure out, frankly, what the hell this is, and I still don't know. So all I can tell is that something is holding a pencil. Whether that something is a glass lion head, I don't know. Whether that is the kid from the movie Mask, starring Eric Stoltz, I don't know. I don't know what this is. I honestly do not know what this is. And that should terrify whoever faces this person, because clearly they can draw insane things. No War 2999. This artwork, this artist is interesting. And again, I'm old, so I remember we were talking about this artist who has followed us for a while, I think. The name seems familiar. Yeah, they followed us. I'm sorry, they have followed us. But anyway, this is really interesting to me. Chris, that's probably what that is. You're right. It's a lion head, but it looks weird. But this artist here, we were talking about it as we looked at maybe put this artist in the tournament. We weren't sure, but this is me being old. This artwork reminds me of comics from the 1980s, in which case I was a child back then and grew up in that era. So comics in the 1980s were always kind of interesting like this. They kind of had that loose feel. They had a lot of cross hatching because a lot of comics were black and white. So this appealed to me quite a bit. This artist does have some interesting tangents in terms of how they do their art. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what this artist comes up with in the tournament. I think they could be more interesting than people think. Next up is White Hair Artist. White Hair Artist. I'm just keeping it real, Conjure the Dragon. White Hair Artist. I don't know what that means. I'm curious to see this young man to see if he actually has white hair. Apollonia 0930. And the minute I saw this, I kept thinking of Apollonia from Prince. I don't think this person is Apollonia from Prince. I like the little pattern though in the background. I do like that. DC Sledge 46. DC Sledge 46. DC Sledge 46. Nohara Ruck. And if I remember correctly, this artist is from Russia. So it's going to be interesting to see what this artist does. But you can see this artist is clearly a giant fan of Saturday AM. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't know if they're a giant fan of Saturday AM, but I love the fact that they love Saturday AM so much they're willing to put Saturday AM with My Hero Academia. Soon you'll see our books in stores next to My Hero Academia. So I'll take all of that energy. I'll take all of that positive comparative energy. All right, I am Crafty G. I am Crafty G. It sounds like a DJ at like some child's party. Next up is DJ I Am Crafty G. That's what that sounds like. I love the color work on this. It's very subtle, but I love it. I love this color work on this. Next up is Pondo Kuma. Pondo Kuma. Pondo Kuma did not follow our rules either, but we were impressed with Pondo Kuma. So don't screw it up, Pondo Kuma. Next up is Kujin. Kujin. I love the Kujin put like a slight effect on this to kind of create some blurriness to make it look like there's some distance going on. It's really neat. I really like. It took me a minute to realize what they did, but I really like it. I also like the perspective, which is another one of those skill sets that is really hard to do. You would think if you draw that you could do all the stuff if you draw professionally, but again, folks, this tournament will show you there's a lot of skill sets, subtle skill sets that are extremely difficult. Drawing animals is extremely difficult. So there's a lot of skill sets that are really hard to do. Next up is iChris.00001. I love these folks who have numbers in their thing because it's just tough. Now that we're getting into the ranked members, folks, we're now to the ranked. So you may have already seen these folks, but we're going to reveal them again just to be clear. iChris.0001 or 0401 is a very talented artist. We've seen this artist before. They're super talented. They're also a international based artist. They're not in the U.S. basically. They didn't follow the rules, but they did participate in the first March Madness. So we decided to give them that, and the pieces that they did were great. They did a Bully piece that was really cool, and they did this piece, which is absolutely gorgeous. So this artist can be really interesting. I think this artist, the reason we ranked this artist is that this artist on a one-off level, which is what March Madness is all about, folks. Just like March Madness, if you follow basketball, which is where I pulled the name from. I went to UNC Chapel Hill. Got to get that plug in there. We are basketball gods. Michael Jordan went to our school, and so therefore, for most of you who are like the people that follow Saturday AM, you don't care about sports anyway. So all of this is falling on deaf ears, but I don't care. UNC Tar Heels, not Duke. We're going to destroy Duke this weekend. That being said, just like in the NCAA March Madness tournament for basketball, it doesn't matter whether or not your team is good on paper. It doesn't matter whether or not you've got the best players. It matters how you handle each game. That's what it's all about, is each game. And this artist right here, I think for each match, if they play to their potential, is going to be devastating, because on a one-off basis, artists can destroy. Whether or not that means they'll be a comic artist one day, I'm not sure I see that, but what I see in this artist in terms of their one-off ability is frightening if you were up against them. Number 7 is Monitor Comics. We were really impressed with this artist. They actually applied to be, I think, in the internship program. And we saw the artist, and we thought, you know what, you don't really need the internship program. I mean, you clearly have talent. There's clearly something you can do. This artist is really talented. I think that this artist will have challenges. Obviously, I think this artist operates in a style that is very unique, and there are times in this tournament where stylistic art can be problematic depending on what the theme is. Particularly if someone else goes a different direction. So it'll be interesting to see, but I think this artist is capable of doing some really interesting work. They showed that in the preliminary tournament, and I think this artist is going to be really, really, really interesting to see. I think this is going to be this artist, I think, is rightfully in the top 8. Next up is Zion Arts. Now, this is an artist that was completely new to us. She had not been in anything we had done before. She didn't subscribe to us, but we took a look at her Instagram, and we were like, holy crap, this girl is scary good. Scary good. I get shades of Bailey Boutel with her. I truly get shades of Bailey Boutel with her, meaning that I see an artist who has some raw ability, And if she plays at all to win, then she's gonna cut through a lot of folks pretty easily. But she's got to be willing to play to win. That's what Bailey learned. His first year, Bailey, came his first post wasn't that great. His second post was just amazing. In 2017, his third post was better than that. But then that last, he made it to the final four, and then he got beat. He got beat by William Patterson because William Patterson just consistently brought a steady hand. Bailey, the second year in 2018, came to play. Bailey was not messing around. Every piece Bailey did was better than the last. And that is what Zion Art here is going to have to do. If they do it, I think they're in the final four. Celestial Pulse. Celestial Pulse is someone that we've seen before. She bought an ad with us. Very talented. She has a comic. Her name's not Celestial, her name is Vicinia. But I think the thing that that really spoke to me with her artistically is that, and this is something I was telling my guys recently, is that, again, look, I love manga. I love manga. I was into manga long before a lot of you guys were even born. I got into manga back in the early 80s, back when it wasn't being brought to America regularly, and I had to get the original Shonen manga from a friend of mine. And so, she reminds me of what I was telling my guys recently, which is that you have to really like making comic books to have a career in comic books. You can't just be a good artist. You have to really like it. And far too often nowadays, what I see a lot of artists who want to create content because they want to have a movie. They want to have an anime. They want to have action figures. They want to have a video game. And so when you get into that position, you lose sight of the fact that before you get any of that, you actually have to be a really good comic artist. You have to produce a great comic book. You have to really like making comics. And so Celestial Pulse, I think, does that. And so I think that sort of joy of creativity, I think, is going to give her a real leg up amongst some other people who might view this, because I don't know these other folks, who might view this as, I'm talented, I can win this. That's the sort of person who gets beaten when they don't expect it. And Vicinia is somebody I think can go the right path. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with her. JP Eba Adan is from the Philippines. We have seen him for some time. He has been associated with us, not officially, but a subscriber. He participated in art contests with us, participated in our short story competition. This is somebody who is not only talented, but he has become more talented. JP has real opportunity, real ability, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him if he gives this his all, because he is, now he's not, this is an artist I think that does have a lot of weaknesses. I think there's some things that JP is not going to want to draw. But the fact of the matter is that JP has a talent level that if he chooses to draw something and he takes it seriously, stylistically, just talent-wise, he can be hell if you go up against him. So really interested to see what happens with JP. Number 3 is one of my favorite people in the tournament, and I do not know her. I think I've maybe talked to her maybe once or twice. I don't actually know this young woman. Her name is Kiara. Her Instagram name is Moki Monk, and she is a young Indian lady from South Africa, which is just great. It means that's just diversity across the board, so I love it. But I've never spoken to her more than a few times, I think, and this was actually years ago. This young woman is truly one of the more frightening people in the tournament for 2 reasons. One, because she's able to draw her ass off and can draw anything she wants to, literally. But number 2 is because she doesn't apply herself nearly as well. She's been in 2 March Madness tournaments, not to mention she was in our original pilot manga group. Kiara, if she were to take this seriously, is easily in the top 4. And I want you to look at her profile, and you will look and you'll think, oh, I can take this girl. Trust me, we've seen her. We know that this girl is crazy good. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with her when it's all said and done. But if she does her work, then we'll see what happens. Number 2 is JT Lucas. JT was one of the finalists last year. Incredibly talented, has an animation style. I think he's trying to be an animator. So he's interesting. He's very interesting to watch. He literally can also do anything he wants to do artistically, which makes him a superior threat. And JT is somebody to watch. He's really interesting. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with him. And number 1 is Amber Naruto Freck. I don't want to call her Amber Naruto Freck. Just her name is Amber Valdez Council. Amber is she is scary. Amber last year went toe-to-toe with Bailey Boutel. She was the only one really to be able to match him intensity every single round of the tournament. She has her weaknesses. She absolutely has her weaknesses, but she has experience having done this now once before. Her color work is devastating. I mean, the bottom line here is that if she does a substandard image and you're going up against her and she colors it the way she can color it, she'll probably beat you just on her color work. Just her color work alone is frightening how good it is. So if you're somebody who can't produce color work, man, you're going to have a tough time with her. And that's what makes her, to us, the biggest threat in the tournament. She just can do, she produces flawless anime-looking characters. She, again, has this color work that's extraordinary. And she can operate in different technical arenas, meaning that, she can, her character work is great. She draws different types of people. She can do a lot of different types of stuff. And I think she is, with a year of experience like Bailey Boutel had, she's a threat. But again, these top 8, all of them can compete, and that's what it'll be. So now, see some of the questions. I want to answer a few questions, but let me just say a couple of things real quickly. Number 1 is that the tournament begins March 11th. So what happens next is that we will reach out to everybody with a email. I'm not sure yet if it'll be email or Instagram post, but we will follow us on Instagram, folks, and we'll let you know. But we will follow up with the 64 artists and the alternates. No, we have not named the alternates tonight, and no, not everybody who applied is an alternate. So we will advise everyone of their opportunities in this, and what the next step is. The next step, folks, is really simple. Basically, again, the tournament begins on Monday. So come Monday morning, you will know what group you are in. You will know whether you're in Team Clock Striker, Team Apple Black, Team Bully Eater, or Team Saigami. You will know what your theme is, and you'll also know who you're up against. The 8 individuals you see here have ranking powers. They are ranked into the first round of this tournament, so they already start off with an advantage. So this, all starts up on March 11th. Now, as a person who will be watching the tournament and wanting to vote on your favorite piece of favorite artwork, favorite artist, that will begin next Friday. So a week from today, around this time, the voting will begin. It will be on the website at the address you see below, and you will be in a position to actually vote on each and every match from every team for this first round. Obviously it goes without saying that we do not take kindly to harassment. So people who are saying nasty things about artists online, if we see that and it's happening too frequently, then we will penalize the artist in question. Number 2, if we see artists that are receiving votes from dummy accounts, from dummy voting setups, which is very easy for us to tell, we have a system, then we will penalize that artist as well. So it is imperative for people to get the word out, tell your friends, tell your family, talk about it via social media. That's how you communicate, trying to get more people to check this event out. If you do that, everybody wins, because it means you get more people out, and it's not just you trying to vote 2 or 3 times under different email addresses, because that, trust me, we see that. We have ways of knowing if you're doing that. But when you're getting more people out, it benefits all. Everybody wins. We win because we get more traffic. You win because you get more people to check out your artwork. The person you invite wins because they get to see cool artwork they can't see anywhere else. Folks, they're not going to see this artwork anywhere else. It's only going to exist on Saturday AM's website. We have the artwork exclusively during this time period. So don't, enjoy this. This is fun. This is serious. It's for an iPad. This is fun stuff. So again, we'll be reaching out to you over the weekend. The 64 artists we've just named here today, as well as the artists that are alternates. And your artwork, once you get the theme on Monday morning, your artwork will be due at 6 p.m. Thursday, Eastern Standard Time, folks. Eastern Standard Time. If you are in New Zealand and you're a day ahead of us, you need to get your artwork in before I wake up. If you are on the West Coast, I will not be accepting artwork at 9 p.m. my time. We operate like most of the world on Eastern Standard Time. That's how it goes. So with that being said, let me see if I can answer some questions here. Folks, if you have questions, feel free to post them, and I will address them quickly. I don't know, Morgan, are you still up? Did you see some questions that you think I should be able to answer, or you got anything for me?
I'll have to take a look at this real quickly because I wasn't paying attention to questions. I mean, there were some that were coming up where people were asking about other events that we do or stuff like that. But I'll take a look at this again and try to get some of those questions put together for you.
Cool. All right. Andrea, do you want to say anything to these folks? Do you?
Yeah. Well, it's super exciting to see all of these artists, and those of you who didn't make it this time, just don't give up. Try it next year, or try our other events like Summer of Manga, or anything we might have. Just focus on improving your skills, and give it your all, and enjoy the competition. And those of you who are in, the best of luck.
Okay, all right. So let me see. Well, I see a few notes here, so I'll try to get to what I see here. Let's see here. So, man, I'm trying to see what these are. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Morgan. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know which question you were going to respond to. I've got like 3 here to
That's
start
cool.
with.
Well, you go ahead. Go ahead.
So one person asked about an intern program. I think you brought it up briefly.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So we did an intern program. Ta-da! We did an intern program, and we brought in people across social media marketing, brain for artists, editors, writers, and designers. And we've had them now for about a month. It's going pretty well. Sales as well was another category. And it's our first time doing it. It's tough. It's, we're a small company and we've got a really tight knit group of people, but we needed the help. This is a really important year for us. They're helping with this tournament. You're going to see a lot of new things in this tournament and with this tournament, and they will be a part of all of those things. So we're really excited about it. But if you're asking, are we having it to where you could join it? It's already finished. So let me say real quickly to folks, as I said at the beginning of this, that if you are discovering us, and we do these videos not too frequently, but we do them enough to where we've got a decent following. We don't produce super slick videos. Obviously, you can see the quality of our videos is pretty booty, but we do them. We do them as a way of connecting with our fans and connecting with our supporters, and our videos do great. I mean, bigger companies than us have a hell of a lot more money and so forth. make these super slick videos, and they're nowhere near as long as ours. They don't do as well as ours, given how long they are. But how long these videos are, I mean. But what I will say is that, folks, you got to support us. If you're not subscribing to us, then that's why you don't know about our intern program. We talked about it for a month, if not longer. This particular tournament right here, we've been talking about this for 3 months. So, I saw a few notes earlier on. People were like, "Oh, hey, wait, can I still apply to it?" And it's like, no, you can't. We've been talking about it for 3 months. So if you're not following us, that's on you. Follow us. Follow us on social media, but subscribe to us, support our business, because that helps us do more things like this. And since we're committed to trying to bring more opportunities to diverse new creators, then, I've seen people support Kickstarters for less. So, please support us and help us keep things moving along. But do subscribe. It's the only way you'll know about the stuff we're doing. Okay. Anything else, Morgan?
Yeah. So Adrian B had asked whether or not we also judged the artwork and made a comment about artists with smaller followings possibly not getting fair voting. So I think they just wanted us to explain how that process works.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so again, like I said, we've been doing this now for 3 years. This is our 4th year. I care about all those things as well. So we built the program to address those things. So for example, there are 3 voting measures. One is the public. And of course, we want the public involved because we want people to come out and see the artwork and stuff. Like I said, folks, this is a business. And so if we can't get people to come out to us, not to Instagram and other places, but to us, they, if they do, maybe they discover some of our stuff. So it's a business. We're doing this with a way for everybody to win. So the public, we want the public to vote. You want the public to vote. But then number 2 is that we then have another group that are the Saturday AM staff and our interns and some of our creators. And the whole point of that is that when that staff comes into the mix and votes, they can counterbalance what some of the fans think. But the third group is our judges, our exclusive judges, and their votes are weighted. So yes, we can shift the tide if there is someone who is voting or getting a lot of popular votes. We've seen this a lot. So trust me, we've dealt with this before. So someone who's getting a lot of popular votes, but aren't getting votes from creators, actual creators, or our judges, they may lose narrowly, but they will most likely lose because this is not a popularity contest. What I will say is that, of course, there have been some times where those artists have slipped through, and the problem for that artist is that this is a 5-week tournament. So even if you make it past round 1 or 2 and your work is not the strongest and you are beating people who maybe were slightly better than you, when you start getting to the latter stages, you're dealing with some of the best artists in the tournament. And chances are even somebody who is deluded into thinking that your stuff is better than another artist will say, but I really like this piece of artwork. This is a really cool piece of artwork. I'm going to vote for this. We've seen this time and time again. So look, it should be competitive. And someone who does not have a big following should have the ability to advance because they did something really clever and therefore got recognized. And that's why, we try to emphasize that we're looking for particular things from an artist. We're not looking for someone who drew the best white manga style image. We're looking for people who are clever, who are using what they know they can do well collectively. We're looking for the right stuff. And when you've got 2 groups that are looking for that versus the public, then it does tend to offset and provide the winner who's the most qualified to win. Anything else, Morgan?
Yes, people are wanting to know who the alternates are.
Yeah, I mean, so we're going to announce them a little bit later. And the reason for that is just that, frankly, we need to go through all the alternates one more time and make sure that we've got the right set of people. As I said at the beginning of this, folks, so again, I know some of you are coming in late, so you missed the beginning of this, but I talked about how we came to judge the people who would be in this tournament. And, we took great care to choose people that we thought would be, who were talented, people who we thought could get a lot out of the tournament, and people who follow the rules or had association with Saturday AM in some capacity. Those are the things we looked at. And so there were some people who had associations with Saturday AM or had been in a previous tournament that we didn't feel like were strong enough to be a part of the main 64 because they hadn't really improved much artistically, or they don't have as much artistic talent as we would like to see in the tournament. There's no point in you being in the tournament if you're just going to get knocked out the first week. I mean, we want it to be as competitive as possible. So from that perspective, again, we made some tough choices and pulled people out to try to choose what we thought would be the best 64. We're human. We may have made a mistake. If you feel like you should have been in the 64, we understand that. The alternate group, however, exists specifically because there are those individuals who will not take this tournament seriously, who will get in because they've got talent, or they said the right thing, or they did the right thing for the registration, but they don't take it seriously. They're not going to produce the best work, or they're not even going to produce the work every week that they might advance. And so when that happens, we will remove them and put in someone else in their place. And that's what the alternate's for. That being said, the alternates are only for the first 2 weeks. So if you are an alternate, we will let you know when that happens. But if you are an alternate, you only have 2 shots to be able to get into the main tournament, meaning that you're going to still produce artwork just like the people in the tournament. And if someone, just like an understudy, if someone doesn't have their stuff together, you will then be put into that position. So again, we will let everyone know sometime tomorrow or at the latest Sunday morning, what the next step is, who's an alternate, and all those things. We're going to make sure we've got the right alternate list, though, before we do that. So any other questions? Anybody else?
The last question I had, someone asked if we were going to have YouTube animations for our manga.
We have a YouTube animation. It's for Mutton Chop. We have these 2 extremely talented young guys named Anthony and Bharat, and they do this great comic called Mutton Chop. You guys should check it out if you haven't seen it. It'll soon be in a store near you, and we're really proud of these young guys. And so they have an animation that's up on the site. I wish you guys would check it out and tell us what you think about it. And they're working currently on the second animation. We are very much working to. Oh, they're in the chat. I didn't see them in the chat. We're working to do. We're working to produce some animations for sure, and as I said earlier, what's important for me is that we do this the right way, and what that means is that I'm not interested in just having animation for animation's sake. I'm interested in having animation that's done the right way. I was even thinking about this the other day about. We have a very unique way we want to do our animation, and that's something that, obviously we're not going to reveal. We've talked to a few people about it, companies and so forth about it. And so when we're ready to pull the trigger, again, the fact that we've had success, that we've taken the work of being a serious brand and producing books and producing a magazine and building a fan base, the fact that we've actually done that and not tried to jump the gun like other companies have, that for us is matters, because it means when we talk to these companies, we have a leg to stand on. So there will be more YouTube animations, but we're hoping to have the Holy Grail announced some point this year. So anything else? Anybody else? Any other questions? All right. Morgan, do you want to say anything? Any last words before we sign off?
Yeah, congrats to everyone who was chosen. This was definitely not an easy process. It never is, but this is actually the easy part. The hard part is yet to come. So you guys have watched our previous voting reveals from previous years. These conversations get much harder when you start getting some of the amazing talent and the amazing things that you guys draw, submitted each round. So, congrats to everyone who made it past this point. Looking forward to seeing what you guys do next week.
That's well said. I really like that very much. Andrea, what any final comments from you that you'd like to make?
Well, Morgan pretty much said everything, so it's kind of hard to say anything after that pep talk. So I guess I'm just gonna wish good luck to everyone.
Why don't you tell them that you draw your stuff and get it in on time, or I will kick you in the shin. And
Oh
that,
yeah, that's true. Like you guys, if you're in, then don't mess it up. So take it seriously.
that's Andrea, the angry beaver.
So we got good cop, bad cop.
Don't screw it up. All right, well, folks, that's it. That's all we got. Again, I want to thank the two lovely ladies that we have who are going to be with us. You're going to see a lot of Andrea and Morgan this month. They'll be working on this tournament. There's going to be lots of other elements to this, folks, that we'll be announcing in time, such as having like a part of it that as a fan, if you're following it regularly, like a sporting event, that there'll be some extra things that you can enjoy, extra information you can get, extra ways you can interact throughout the tournament. And we're really excited about that as well. That's going to be something else that's new. It'll be a part of our Discord, and we'll announce that soon. Likewise, there's a really cool thing I'm going to be doing on Instagram as well with the artists. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff that we're going to try this year, and I really hope a lot of you guys will tune in and check it out. This is going to be really exciting. Again, the tournament begins on March 11th. The artist, as a viewer, you'll be able to see what teams the artists are on and who they're facing for the first week and what themes they're creating. The artists, of course, will also find out what teams are on and what themes they are creating and who they're up against. They will have until Thursday each week to get their work in to us. And when that happens, by 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday night, we will then take that artwork and put it together into the website. And then you'll be able to come back to the website sometime on Friday, and the voting will officially begin. We'll, of course, announce it whenever the voting does begin. And then you go to the website, you get to peruse all the artwork, you get to vote for the artwork you want to advance for the next week. We will have a live reveal show just like this one on Saturday evenings beginning at around 8 p.m., 7 or 8 p.m. Each week. And that will run the length of the tournament. You can look at the previous shows that we've done for each tournament we've had in the past on our website. On our YouTube channel, sorry. And but we'll do that, and it's always a fun event. It's like it is tonight. There's a lot of there's more communication from our fellow artists, but we kind of laugh and joke and have a good time as we run through each artwork. And we provide critical analysis of each piece of art, and so the shows tend to run quite long for the first couple of weeks because there's so many art. But there's so much art, but after that, it reduces and becomes still fun, exciting, and interesting, and educational, and all those great things. So that'll happen on Saturday nights. Then on Sunday, we then tabulate everything. The voting stops sometime Sunday. We tabulate all the results, and then the following Monday morning, you'll then see who won, who lost, and now who's paired against who for the next round, and what the new theme is. And so it's a process that goes each week. Again, we start with 64 people. The second week we'll have 32 people. The third week we'll have 16 people. The fourth week we'll have 8 people. And the fifth week we'll have 4 people. And that will be your final 4 of the tournament. So that's how it works, folks. It's not any more sophisticated than that. Of course, the ranking powers are a big part of this. You'll get to see that in action. It's going to be really cool. But otherwise than that, that's it. So I wish everybody good luck. I wish everyone success in the tournament. I am equally excited because we never know who's going to win these things. We were shocked the first year, the second year, the third year we pretty much knew Bailey was probably going to win it. I will say because he just came with fire in his belly. But the first 2 years were really surprising, and I feel this year is going to be that as well. Bailey's not in it. Amber is probably the favorite, and there's a lot of artists outside of her who could win. So we're really excited. In fact, some of the artists in the 64 that weren't in the final 8 have talent that could really do it. So I'm going to be very curious to see how this thing shakes out. But I promise you, if you follow along with it, you'll have fun and you'll enjoy it. If you want to continue to see things like this, though, please support us. Consider subscribing to our magazine. You can do so at our website, www.saturday-am.com. It's $5 for a subscription for the year. That's going to get you just Saturday AM magazine, which is coming out on a monthly schedule this year, not bi-weekly like we normally do. Or you can pay $30, and that does two things. It does three things, folks. It gets you Saturday AM. It gets you Saturday PM, which is our adult magazine. And we're going to have that come out 4 times this year. In fact, the 4th issue comes out this month, at the end of this month. But the other thing it does, folks, is we're shifting things around a little bit. And that, if you subscribe to the magazine at the premium level, it actually gives you additional pitch sessions where you can pitch us your comic books. And we will have other art tournaments. And you can actually get registered for those by being a subscriber. So we hope you'll do that as a way of supporting diversity and independent creators and all that good stuff. So with all that being said, we're going to take it easy and we're going to get some sleep, and we'll talk to you guys very, very soon. All right. Take care, folks. We appreciate it.